Designing tables here in InDesign can be a little tricky. So I'm going to go through the steps needed to make this table look really nice. We're going to go through the 3 styles that we need, starting with table styles, jumping to cell styles, and of course editing the text with paragraph styles. So those 3 here are used to create a really good looking table. Before we do that though, granted we have to create a table first, and we can do that by first creating a frame. And when you're inside that frame, we can go ahead and jump to our table menu and insert a table. From there you'll determine if you need any header rows or footer rows. You could also determine how many body rows and columns you'll need. And so if I go ahead and hit insert table, you'll see that this is the window that will be determining what our table is going to consist of. Anyways, I'll click cancel and I'll delete this frame because we don't need it. Next, when it comes to working with a table, we want to determine if there's been a header added to this table. It's a really quick way to determine that is by selecting it. So if I actually create a selection here up towards the top, and if I'm prevented from getting that first row or the last row, then I know it's a header row or a footer row, and I can determine that it's already there. If this selection would go all the way to the top, then I can tell right away that, oh, okay, I need to go ahead and convert that first row into a header. And to do that, it's a very simple process. You would just click that row, and then through your table menu, you would just go ahead and define that as a header row, or if it was the bottom row, to a footer row, right? And so just getting the whole table set up is important. Next, what I'd like to do is to go ahead and remove any type of formatting from it. So if I select the entire table and go to my cell styles, I want to go ahead and hit this button right here, which will clear any type of attributes that have been assigned to that table. Basically just a clear all, if you will. Also, I would like to do that to the table style as well, so we can go ahead and clear out anything that's there. Now, if you don't see these panels inside of your setup, then what we need to do is go ahead and load them in. So here for your layout, we'll go to our window menu at the top, and we'll go ahead and go to styles and bring up the necessary styles. So character styles, paragraph styles, cell styles, and table styles. They all live in this style group, if you will. All right, so now we have everything there. We can work 1 or 2 ways to get this done. We can work starting with the text formatting and then go all the way up to the table, or we can start at the table and go backwards. It's more effective, if you will, to go from the paragraph styles to the table style than to work backwards, because then you have to keep jumping back and forth. So if you create it as you go along, it might be easier for you to assign the correct styles when needed. So anyways, I'm going to go up to my paragraph styles first, and if you remember in the past, if you took my classes, you would essentially just go to your basic paragraph and you would define what your overall font's going to be, right? And so that we can go ahead and use that as a foundation to create all the other rules off of. All right, so I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to create a new rule for this. And this rule is going to go ahead and be defined as my header table text. And so this is going to be primarily used for the top row of the table. Define what the text or the content is going to look like. It is going to be based off of our basic paragraph. So again, I don't have to define the font family, right? I'll go to my basic character formats, and we essentially go through and define what we want it to look like. I'm just going to go real quickly here. I want to go ahead and make this maybe a little bit of semi-bold. We'll go ahead and probably make it just a little bit bigger. How about 13 points in size? And then for the color, since I know I'm going to use a dark background, let's just go ahead and apply paper, not white, but paper, to the character color, right? And then maybe to make this more interesting, maybe center the text within the cell. That's pretty nice. So I'll go to my indents and spacing and define alignment to center. Right, that looks pretty good. As far as a vertical justification, making the text go up and down within the cell, that's all going to be done through our cell styles. So I can't do that here. I could apply space after, but space before wouldn't work because it's the top of the paragraph. Anytime you have content on top of a frame or top of the paragraph, it's just not going to push down. That's for the descending paragraphs or content. So that won't do anything. Don't even try it. So I'll click OK. And so there's my style for my header text. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the body text. So I'll go ahead and create a new rule. I'll double click on it. And we'll go ahead and call this body table text. Sounds fantastic. And again, we got to be careful on this whole based on setting. And again, we're going to try to use our basic paragraph as a foundation so I don't have to define the font again. So here I am going to go ahead and make it based off basic paragraph and then apply my formatting. So we'll go to basic character and we'll go ahead and select and maybe regular is fine, but maybe a little bit smaller because I can see it's a little bit larger here. We could also try maybe a condensed style, and that would probably look a little nice to make that text a little bit smaller. And keep in mind we do have a lot of content in here, right? Maybe a little bit of leading, just make that a little bit bigger. Remember, rule of thumb, this should always be a little bit larger than the size of your font. And that just go ahead and add a little bit of space to your paragraphs, from line to line. Kind of relate this to double spacing in Word. I think everything else is pretty much done. We could apply a character color if we wanted to, maybe do some type of maybe true black and maybe make it a tint of some sort, maybe like 80%. That would look nice, I think. But anyways, we define what we want it to look like and we're done. So these do not get applied like normal text. I'm not going to go in through here in my table, select the text, and apply this. I essentially want to do this through the cells. And the cell style is going to apply the overall text placement, the formatting for each cell, and then also borders, right? And then if we had a background color, we could do that. So this is done. We'll jump to our cell styles and create the cell style for not only the body, but also for the header and a footer if we had it. But we don't, so we're good. So again, nothing selected. I'm going to create these two rules. We'll start off with the header. Header cell style. That looks pretty good. Based on nothing, because we have nothing there. But before I go on to the other categories, check this out. Here in the bottom, we're going to go ahead and apply our paragraph style to this cell style. So there it is, header table text, fantastic. So now any text within those cells will be defined or styled and formatted. I'll go to my text setting here, and I want to go ahead and adjust this to be centered within the cell. So that's your vertical justification, right? And then we don't need any inset spacing, maybe just a little bit on all sides. You know what? I don't like doing these inch values. Let's go ahead and type in maybe like 5 pixels and let it convert it for us. Graphics, we're not going to put an image in here. This is new to Creative Cloud. We're going to go strokes and fills, and maybe we want to go ahead and put a background color. And we'll just go ahead and use this dark gray color. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We could apply a border around it. In fact, I'll probably do that just so that we can make things easier here. I'll just put a 1-point border. We'll make it the same color and make it solid. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and click OK, and we'll do the one for the body. Ooh, I double click there. There we go. And we'll just do body cell style. Keep it the same. Again, based on nothing, but we're going to go ahead and assign our body paragraph style to it. Justification, not needed, but we do want some spacing. We'll keep it the same, 5 pixels or points, same thing. And then for the strokes and fills, we're not going to use a fill here, but we're going to apply the fill on the table style, not necessarily for each one of these here. If we wanted just one solid color, then yes, you would define that here. But we want some alternating row colors, and that's going to be done through the table style. But we will add a 1-point solid, and we'll just use the same color, dark grayish, and we'll go ahead and click OK. So that's pretty good. We're all set. All we have to do is now create the table style. So I'll go to my table styles panel. I'll create a new one, and we'll go ahead and call this I don't know. Let's go ahead and call this products table. That sounds pretty good. Again, based on nothing. But before we move on to the other options, look at this. We have the option, the ability to apply the cell styles to this table. So for my header rows, I want to use my header cell style. For the body rows, I want to go ahead and use the body cell style, right? So it's a little daisy chain going from paragraph to cell to table. There are other options here, but we'll not apply these for your footer, your left column, right column, and so you can really make a fancy table. We'll go to table setup, and we can go ahead and define the space before and space after. So if the table would live within your text, we want to have some gap between the paragraph and the table itself. We'll leave this as default because we don't have any copy. And then also a border around the table. 1 point solid, but we'll use the same color so there's no real variation in the border itself from the cells. So it looks nice. The last thing we'll do is go to fills, and we're going to go ahead and do the alternating row color here. So under the alternating pattern, we can define a lot of different options. Normally we just do like every other row, which is fine. And then we'll do the first row with a color, a tint, and then there you go. So we'll just do this light gray. We'll put a tint of maybe 60% because it's already light already. And I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and click OK. And so all we need to do now is just apply this table style to our table. So I'll double click inside, and I'll click on the top left corner to select the entire table, and we'll click our table style, and there it is. Excellent. So very simple. Doesn't take a whole lot. It's a progression, right? Starting from paragraph styles to cell styles to table style, and then finally apply it. Another benefit of this is that when we create a new table, this products table is already there, and we can go ahead and create a new table with that formatting already applied. Now, if we did want to center these cells, then we would create another cell style and apply them to them manually, right? We want to try to use styles as much as possible. What we don't want to do is to highlight text and apply formatting either to the top or through this table panel, because then that would defeat the whole purpose of having paragraph styles, cell styles and table styles. We want to keep things centralized as much as possible. Anyways, that's it for this little quick tip. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.